Trevor Lawrence, 0-7 over his last 7 games now. The Jaguars, with all these high hopes, kind of in free fall after starting 0-2. Who are we laying blame on for the Jaguars' struggles so far of this offense?
Well, I think there's a little bit to go around, it's never, just on one person. I think, when you talk about, losing weapons and Calvin Ridley, he makes this unbelievable catch for the Titans yesterday. There's a vertical threat that's gone. They've had some injuries at the wide receiver position. Offensive line, their protection hasn't been great. But when you're talking about Trevor Lawrence, to me, I really think his struggles have been in the intermediate passing game. And so, it's inconsistency in that middle section of the field where it's like from 8 to about 20 yards down the field. To me, it's where he's the most inconsistent with his accuracy, right? Like some are really good. His highs are really high. And so the good throws are really good, but it's about bringing that floor up, right? Like his ceiling's up here, but his floor is down here with his accuracy in the intermediate passing game. And you look at just yesterday, like buzzing back through their tape yesterday, there's 5 or 6 different throws that are kind of in that window from 8 to 20 yards down the field that are a couple are just not close. And then the other thing I think is even in their like short passing game, the quick game, he throws it so hard all the time, right? And so there's art to being a passer, right? And giving guys catchable balls, whether it's on those crossing routes that are short, that are really difficult for wide receivers and tight ends to catch because it's hard to track where that ball's coming, above or through kind of those windows in the offensive and defensive line. So I think a little bit of more touch in that short passing game, and then he's got to improve his accuracy because those have been the areas, where he has struggled. But that's really the areas where you make your living as a passer in this league, right? He's been good down the field. He had a beautiful deep ball yesterday that was gorgeous, and that part's fine. But those only come up 2 or 3 times a game, right? You're going to have 15 to 18 pass attempts in that 8 to 20 yard window, and you got to make people pay in that area.
Is that just who he is at this point now? He's in year 4. That's been his MO, kind of even dating back to Clemson, right? I think that was what people said was he'll sail some throws over that area of the football field, and we've seen it kind of consistently throughout his career outside of spurts where he plays at a high level. Are we just to think that this is going to be Trevor for the rest of his career, a little bit inconsistent, who maybe has some high highs but also some low lows?
I mean, it's 4 years in, and he just got paid, and I'm happy for him. And I do think like the good stretches have been very good. And so you're hoping that there can be more consistency there. In his defense yesterday, the weather was terrible. And so, some of that, like I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say I've sailed balls, I've dirted balls, I've missed balls when it's raining or whatever. But we just need to see some more consistency. I'm not there to say, hey, this is who he is the rest of his career. I do think he can improve. And given his athleticism, it's not like he has to be the best in the league in this area. He's just got to be a little bit better.
Yeah, and I mean, when you've got a guy like Trevor Lawrence, who's the unquestioned leader of your locker room, when you've got guys like you and me and Mike on here throughout the week talking about, is he the guy? Is this what we're going to get from Trevor forever? It doesn't really breed confidence. And to your point, I just think that they're not on the same page. I look at, some of the things he said about Brian Thomas Jr. going out of week 1. He said the guy doesn't play like a rookie. He doesn't approach the things like a rookie would. Well, then I see him in the end zone bailing out to the left out of the pocket. Brian Thomas goes on that back end line left to right, Matt, and he throws it right behind Brian Thomas Jr. So it's a mess up on Trevor Lawrence, but also a mess up on BTJ. He's got to have his eyes around in a situation like that. Your team's fighting to make a play. You got to be on the same page. Is that just going to take time, or is that something where you think Trevor may be seeing ghosts, bailing out of the pocket a little bit early, and then the play breaks down?
I don't think he's seeing ghosts. Like, I don't feel like it's in that space where his eyes are just gone, as soon as that ball snapped. I do think it comes down to a little bit of continuity. We were talking about it with the Chiefs before, right? Those play extensions and how it's just as important that the wide receivers are on the same page and understanding, how to create space, where to be in the right spots, where to set it down, where to put on the brakes, all of those things. I do think a little bit of that, it takes time, but he certainly, like, the time is now. You know, the time to correct it is now.
Because it'll be a new regime.
They had a very winnable ball game week
before
one.
we know, Matt. It'll be a new regime there before we know, and Trevor will be reinventing himself again.
Yeah, I'll say this. I don't think at any point during Trevor Lawrence's career have they given him an above-average offensive line or an above-average wide receiving core. And now, I think, I don't care who you are in today's NFL, you're going to go through bouts of inconsistency where that's the case. And that's not to excuse that Trevor misses more throws than you'd like for a top-level quarterback. But I think to call him a bust or to say he wasn't necessarily deserving of that big contract, I just think they need to put a better team around him first before we have any sort of decision on that, because as it stands right now, I just don't think we've been able to properly evaluate him. I just don't.